Hello everyone, my name is Denisha Poplis with Volunteers in Public Schools, and we are still acknowledging our Super Summer Readers as we transform from summer back into the school year. I am so excited to have Super Summer Reader with us today. Join us to talk about his experience with this amazing project. Today we have Mr. Levar Greenhouse with AT&T. Hello Mr. Levar, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. So first, I want to thank you for signing on and being involved in being part of this Super Summer Reader project. We truly appreciate you for sharing your time, your voice, and your efforts through this. Although it is no longer summer, VIPS wants to continue to provide accessible literary resources to our students through Super Summer Readers. Mr. Levar, you are quite the interesting man. I was super excited to hear about your interview and having the opportunity to talk to you about what you do with AT&T as their Regional Director of External Affairs of Southwest Louisiana. So could you please share with us what you do there and your everyday duties?
Okay, yes. As you said, name is Levar Greenhouse, been with AT&T for 15 years. And I'm currently the Regional Director for External Affairs over Southwest Louisiana. So in my role, I basically serve as the liaison between AT&T and our governmental partners, our community partners. I help to resolve issues that may arise in the my service area, work with elected officials, community leaders to resolve issues, to amplify and promote the AT&T brand. And just be a good business partner to the community. Been doing this job since September 3rd, but been with AT&T for 15 years and a few other roles. Started out as an engineer, did engineering for 5 years. Then I became what we call a network manager. So I supervised the technicians that place the cable on the poles. So the guys that you see with the big trucks that roll out after a natural disaster like we're going through right now, those technicians in Lafayette reported to me. And then after doing that for 5 years, I got promoted to an area manager, and essentially area manager, district manager, or to put that in perspective, I supervise managers that supervise those technicians. And my coverage area was basically the Texas-Louisiana border, almost all the way to New Orleans. Skipped over Baton Rouge, they assigned it to another manager. And then I kind of picked up that Homer West Bank area. So it was a challenge every day. Each area is very different, so you have to know how to handle each area with respect. What goes on in Lake Charles is very different than what goes on in Lafayette. It's different than what goes on in Homer. So every day was a challenge. Every day was different. Then you're dealing with people. Everybody's personality is different. So it was a challenge every day, and I love it.
Yes, it's safe to say that you definitely do love your job being there for so long. I would definitely hope that you loved your job.
Every job that I've had, I've loved with AT&T, and every job, presents its own challenges, but it presents its own successes as well. And I love it. Love every day that I go to work. So I really can't complain.
Excellent. That's what we strive for in life. So in your younger days as a young man, you were enlisted into speech therapy, which involved the practice of literary skills and correcting your speech delays and fluency. So what did you do outside of speech therapy to combat this challenge? And how do you think your literary skills and practicing reading out loud contributed to your speech development?
Well, at an early age, I stuttered really bad. I couldn't pronounce any words that started with TH or FR. And I actually moved from one school to a new school. And they thought that the fact that I stuttered impacted my ability to learn. So I had my mother always engaged, my father always engaged. And I had a teacher, Mr. Bennett. He realized that no, he's making A's and B's. Something else is there. So he reached out to the principal. The principal brought in a speech therapist. At that time, she would come in 3 times a week and work with just me for an hour every week, those 3 times a week. So it really helped me just advance, got rid of that stuttering that I used to do or had, helped me pronounce those THFR words. And then when I would go home, my mom and dad would force me to read. Um, as a 10-year-old or whatever, however old you are in third, fourth, and fifth grade, I'm reading Reader's Digest. So that was my assignment. However often a Reader's Digest came, my father would make me read it aloud, read it to him, read it to myself, and I'll just read that. And it kind of helped me just kind of strengthen that foundation, helped me get over some issues, some security issues. When you stutter, at that time, kids tend to pick at you. So I was picked at a lot. So, you have those issues where you're not sure yourself. You don't want to read aloud in public. Don't want to read aloud in class for sure. But that speech therapist helped me, learn how to pronounce those words, get rid of some of those security issues. And then when I went home, just my father and my mother reinforcing that, that kind of solidified that. And ever since then, I've been, for the most part, rocking and rolling.
Yes, well, I definitely am a fan of your foundation. And
Yeah.
so, speaking of that foundation in your school and your younger days, being from Marksville, it took a little bit of while for your city to integrate and fully integrate, however, from their desegregation in 1967 of schools. And so you were a part of that first class for your school in particular to integrate both people of color and their counterparts. Can you share with us how that experience of being newly integrated in a school affected your trajectory?
Well, I'll say this. At the time, I didn't know why we were going there. I woke up one day, my mom said, "You're going to a new school." And the way she kind of explained it to me, even at that age, and even to this day, to the best of her ability, was the fact they needed some more diversity. They wanted to keep the school open, so they kind of bust, for lack of a better word, a certain demographic into the school. But for me, at that age, I really couldn't tell the difference. The teachers always respected us, always taught us. The only issue that I had was the fact they wanted to assign me to a special class because I stuttered. But like I said, luckily I had an awesome teacher, Mr. Bennett, stayed engaged, make sure that I wasn't going down the wrong path, make sure that they continued to help me learn in my own unique way. But looking back at it, as a 40-year-old man, I really did not have a bad experience. Of course, those racial divides were there, but as kids, that saying is always true. Kids don't know the difference between black and white. They are taught that. So my peers that I met, and I'm still good friends with a lot of my classmates. Literally was texting one last night, discussing an issue about cell phone service at their home. So it made some lifelong friendships. The teachers never gave me any indication one way or the other that they may not have cared for me or not liked us, my class, because we're African American minorities. But my experience was pleasant, to be honest.
That's good. That's amazing. I'm truly happy to hear that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know that everyone's story of those times can be different on different sides of the spectrum. So to hear that you did have a fairly easy transition into this new school was amazing, and then that's where you were able to develop your speech. So that was really nice. And similar to Marksville, East Baton Rouge Parish had their own desegregation case that had to dismantle the dual system operation in 1956. But that took quite the while to actually finalize and get its feet running to actually be something that fully desegregated and worked for all families. So this was said to be like one of the longest running suits of desegregation in the nation, to be honest. And however, it wasn't until federal judge John Parker ordered the closing of 15 schools and developed a pair or cluster of previously Black and white schools to exchange students through a busing. And that was what VIPS was founded from, as a result for our founding days. And, you know, VIPS saw the need for developing volunteers in public schools to advance our academic achievement through reigniting community confidence and involvement, one student at a time. So I am super happy that you were able to overcome that, even though here in East Baton Rouge Parish, it took us a little bit longer to get to that destination. And so understanding our history and, you know, your involvement with Super Summer Readers, why do you believe the community involvement is so important in public schools?
Well, for me, it's just that representation. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't see a lot of African Americans, a lot of minorities beyond the role of what my father did. My father was a prison guard for the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Angola. So for me, he was there on my neighbor. My neighbor was actually a teacher. She was like my mom, so she actually helped me learn, adapt, think outside the box. But beyond teachers and law enforcement in Marksville, that's all I saw. So that representation is what I like to show, what I like to give back. Just seeing that, you know, my wife is an attorney. I have friends that are doctors, nurses. My brother is a pastor as well as a business owner. So there's that representation showing minorities, showing Black men, Black girls, Black women, teenagers, that there are different options out there that where you start, you know, especially for me being from a small town, from Marksville, leaving that small town, going to Lafayette, Louisiana, and becoming an electrical engineer, and kind of working my way through and about AT&T to now being in governmental and external affairs. That's showing that you have different options. That's showing that, you know what, you don't have to, where you start isn't where you finish. And that's why. So when I had the opportunity, I jumped at the chance to do it. I work for an awesome company that allows us to engage in these types of endeavors. So I'm very, very appreciative. I enjoyed the process. The book was a tongue tired, but I enjoyed it. It was a very good book.
Yes, speaking of your book was Truck Full of Ducks by Ross Brack. So how do you feel about this book besides it being a tongue twister? What do you think students or children will be able to connect with or resonate with from this book?
Well, I want to say it was an easy read, but it was a tongue tie. You know, it's only so many times you say truck full of ducks. But it was, you know, I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old daughter. So when I look for books to read to them, of course, we look at diversity. We look at books that reflect our culture, but we also look at books that are fun to read. And this is one of those books I think that is just fun to read, Trucks Full of Ducks, repetition. My daughter actually watched the video of someone else reading it as I prepared to see, what is this book? I've never heard of it. And, you know, for a while she just said, Truck Full of Ducks, Truck Full of Ducks. So it just helps with that repetition. I liked it. It was a fun read, tongue twister, but it was a fun read. Just an overall good book.
Yes, and that's honestly the purpose of the project, to well, not to twist anyone up, but to give our students in the East Baton Rouge Parish, you know, someone in the community that they can, you know, identify with, or they may know personally, to visit our YouTube at VIPS Baton Rouge and be able to see that person, read along with them, and have that representation, have someone practice their Ebonics with them and their phonics, you know, sight words and things like that. So that was definitely the entire purpose, you know, so children like your daughter can go and view the books and read along with us. So yeah. As a parting, this is my last question for you. As a parting, what do you have, or do you have any exiting tips, tricks, recommendations for students and parents that are trying to stay encouraged, stay pumped about reading and literacy?
Well, I'll say this. Like I said, I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. Due to COVID, we kept our kids home since March the 13th. So was a little difficult trying to work from home and still be a parent, still stay engaged. But as I reviewed the videos that you guys have put online, that Vips have put online, I liked it. And what I like about it is one of the things that helped my daughter get to where she is right now is just reading to her. Every night, if I'm tired or if I want to, she makes us read her a book. I give that credit to my wife. She started out reading our oldest a book every night, and that stuck with her. So anytime she goes to sleep, she wants a book read to her, whether it's nap time or dinner time or whatever time she falls asleep. And I just see how that has helped her kind of be a few steps ahead of her peers. So when she goes to class, she's already, writing her A's and B's. She's familiar with certain things. She's familiar with what a truck is, what a cup is, what a table is, because we read those books to her. And what I liked about Vips is, not all parents have ample time. Not all parents are comfortable with reading to their kids, or not all parents have access to the books. Vips provide the books, and we just provide a sounding board to read to those kids. So, if the parent may not be comfortable, may not have time that night, because I understand that some parents may have to work 2 or 3 jobs, just provide for their family. Look, you can just play this video. You have the book because it's been provided by Vips, and your child, your kid can just follow along. And at the end of the day, someone has read to them, read with them, and it starts that foundation of reading that's, to me, so needed to build those early foundation blocks. Because like I said, I was in speech, and just have somebody pour into me when they didn't have to, that helped me develop to where I am today, helped me give me some real assurances, and just kind of helped build me up in my early ages. So it's just very important, just reading every night, having, just whoever it is, whether it's me, my wife, my mom, or whoever it is, reading to those kids that Vip touches, whether it's me, or, somebody else, some of the other readers. I just think that's so important, to have somebody engage with the kids, helping them read, assisting them with reading, some of these tongue twisters that y'all gave us.
Well, we will try to keep the tongue twisters down, but we are also advancing the education of our students through every tongue twister. So thank you so much, Mr. Levar Greenhouse, for being a part of this project and being a 2020 Super Summer Reader. We truly appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you for having me.